Hey, basketball fans, welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for the hottest NBA regular season predictions. I'm Kokan, and I'm here to break down today's matchups and give you the edge you need to make the best bets. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support means the world to us. Remember, our channel has no sponsors and relies solely on the love and support of viewers like you. Even a small donation by pressing the thanks button under the video helps us keep bringing you top-notch content every day. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow basketball enthusiasts. And we love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see in our forecasts. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you the content you crave. Let's jump right into today's NBA predictions. We've got some exciting games lined up, so stay tuned and let's get that winning streak going. Today we have predictions for 4 NBA games. The first prediction for today is for a game between the Los Angeles Clippers and Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are absolutely killing it this season, and honestly, no one really expected this kind of turnaround. After a brutal year last season, where they were at the bottom of the standings, they've completely flipped the script. Now sitting in the playoff hunt with a 31-26 record, they're on a 6-game win streak, and their most recent win over the Hawks, 148-143, shows they're ready to play with anyone. That win was a bit of a roller coaster, but it proves they're capable of going toe-to-toe in high-scoring affairs. The Pistons need to tighten up defensively, though, especially after giving up 143 points to Atlanta. But let's not overlook their offense, which is ranked 14th in the league right now, putting up 114.6 points per 100 possessions. Cade Cunningham is the real deal. This guy has been unreal this season, earning his first All-Star nod, and he's showing why he's one of the best young players in the league. Averaging 25.7 points, 9.5 assists, and 6.3 rebounds, Cunningham is not only scoring but facilitating at an elite level. He's the engine driving this team, and if the Pistons are going to keep this streak going, he'll be at the center of it all. Malik Beasley has stepped up big time, especially with Jaden Ivey out for the time being. Beasley's putting up 16.6 points per game and is looking like a solid second option. If they can continue to execute offensively and clean up their turnovers, Detroit will be a tough team to beat. Now, the Los Angeles Clippers, they've had a decent season too, but they've been much more hit or miss, especially on the road. Sitting at 31-25, they're in a good spot in the Western Conference, but they've been pretty inconsistent, with a 12-15 record on the road. That's a huge issue for them going into this one, especially since the Pistons are rolling right now. The Clippers' offense has been a bit lackluster at times, ranking near the bottom of the league in points per 100 possessions. James Harden has been trying to find his rhythm, focusing more on playmaking, and Norman Powell has been a scoring machine. But they're still dealing with injuries, with Kawhi Leonard's status being a bit up in the air. He's been in and out of the lineup since coming back from injury, and with Paul George gone, this team just doesn't feel as dangerous as they once were. Defensively, though, the Clippers are solid. They rank 3rd in the league, allowing just 110.2 points per 100 possessions. But if they're going to get this win on the road, they'll need more than just defense. They'll need to step up offensively, something they've struggled with in recent games. After a tough loss to the Pacers, the Clippers need to bounce back fast. But with this being their 4th straight road game, it's hard to see them pulling it together for a big win. When it comes down to it, I've got to ride with the Pistons in this one. They're on fire right now, and they've been playing with a chip on their shoulder. The Clippers, even though they're the better team on paper, have just been too inconsistent on the road. With the Pistons' offense clicking and the Clippers dealing with injuries, this feels like a prime spot for Detroit to keep the streak alive. I really think the Pistons can get their first win over the Clippers since 2019, and I'm all in on them for this one. If they keep playing the way they have, they've got a real shot at securing a solid home victory here. It's tough to trust the Clippers away from home right now, and the Pistons are looking hungry.
Welcome to BetUS, Sportsbook and Casino, your ultimate hub for secure and thrilling sports betting and casino gaming. BetUS is one of the oldest and most reliable online sportsbooks in the U.S., serving millions of clients all over the globe each month. BetUS, trusted for over 30 years, offers huge welcome bonuses, countless betting options, and many deposit and payout methods. Depositing funds is a breeze and safe, with a minimum deposit of just $10. Payouts are fast and hassle-free, beginning at only $50. Choose from various payout options like MoneyGram, couriered check, cryptocurrency, or bank wire. Signing up is quick and easy. For signing up, you can use the link in the description and enjoy a generous 125% welcome bonus of up to $3,000. By signing up using the link in the description, you'll also support us as we earn a small commission from your registration at BetUS. Thank you for supporting us. Join now and start winning.
The second prediction for today is for a game between the Denver Nuggets and Indiana Pacers. Alright, here's the breakdown for this one. The Denver Nuggets come into this game sitting pretty with a solid 37-20 record, placing them third in the West. But their most recent loss to the Lakers, 123-100, was a tough pill to swallow. That 9-game win streak they had going? It's officially snapped. I get it. Jokic isn't stressing too much about the loss, especially when he points out that the Nuggets had mostly been beating up on weaker teams during that streak. Still, there's no denying the squad's been legit all season, and a lot of that success has to do with the Joker himself. The dude's putting up historic numbers, averaging a triple-double with 29.4 points, 12.7 boards, and 10.2 assists. But here's the catch: when he's off the floor, the Nuggets' depth gets exposed. They've got some talent, don't get me wrong, but it's clear that when Jokic isn't on the floor, the wheels kind of fall off. Jamal Murray's been stepping up his game lately, now averaging 21.2 points and 6.1 assists. Russell Westbrook has embraced his role and contributed, but still, they struggle with consistency outside of Jokic. And let's not forget, their defense isn't exactly locking teams down. They're ranked 19th in defensive rating, allowing 115.3 points per 100 possessions. If the Pacers can exploit this, they're in for a good shot. The Pacers, on the flip side, have been looking strong, sitting at 32-23 and 4th in the East. They're riding a 3-game win streak, including a solid 129-111 win over the Clippers. If we're being honest, this is a team that took a little time to find its groove, but since early January, they've been on fire. Tyrese Halliburton was a little shaky to start the season, but he's really found his rhythm now, averaging 18.1 points and 8.6 assists. The guy's been the engine for Indiana, and when he's cooking, they're tough to beat. Pascal Siakam has been doing his thing as the team's top scorer, dropping 20.4 points and grabbing 7.3 boards a game. And let's not forget Benedict Mathurin, who stepped up as the third option, contributing 16.4 points per game. With a top 10 offense in the league, averaging 116.5 points per 100 possessions, the Pacers are no slouch on that end of the floor. Their defense is a little more middle of the pack, but they've been tough at home. They've got a 16-8 record at home this season, so they'll feel comfortable playing in front of their fans. When you look at this game, it's clear the Pacers have the momentum right now. Even though they're coming off a back-to-back, they've been playing great basketball at home. The Nuggets, however, have been less reliable on the road, with 11 of their 20 losses coming away from Denver. Their last game against the Lakers showed just how vulnerable they can be, especially when they're not executing on offense and defense. 20 turnovers in that game? That's a recipe for disaster against any team, let alone one that's as quick and efficient as the Pacers when they're rolling. Now, for the Pacers, the game plan should be clear. They've got to find a way to slow Jokic down. The last thing you want is for him to go off and take over the game. If Indiana can force Jokic to play facilitator rather than scorer and make Denver's supporting cast step up, they've got a real shot. I mean, Jokic is amazing, but the Nuggets are not unbeatable. If they make life tough for Denver's role players, the Pacers could create some problems. The Nuggets are the favorites here, but the Pacers have been balling out at home, and they're playing with some serious swagger right now. They've averaged 130 points over their last 3 games, and when you're scoring like that, you're tough to stop. Despite being on the second leg of a back-to-back, I've got a feeling Indiana is going to keep this run going. Denver might be the better team on paper, but they've shown they can be beat, especially on the road. I'm leaning towards the Pacers to not only cover the spread, but maybe even pull off the win. They've got the offense, the energy, and the home court advantage to take down the Nuggets if they play their cards right. Let's see if they can keep their momentum rolling and get another big W. Before we move on, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing might seem like a small action, but it actually makes a big impact for us. Plus, it's completely free for you. Have you clicked that subscribe button? Awesome, thank you so much for your support. Now let's dive back into the video. The third prediction for today is for a game between the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. This game between the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks is a big one for both teams as they fight to stay alive in the playoff race. Miami comes in after a tough loss to the Bucks, where they fought hard but still fell short 120 to 113. Sitting at 26 to 29 on the season, they've been pretty up and down lately, with offense being their main issue. They've really struggled in that department, ranking near the bottom in offensive rating. A lot of that can be attributed to Jimmy Butler's departure, but the Heat have gotten a little boost from the addition of Andrew Wiggins, who's known for his defense and doesn't need the ball to make an impact. But the real focus for Miami is Tyler Herro, who's been the go-to guy for the Heat. He went off for 40 points and 11 assists in the loss to Milwaukee, and he's averaging 24.2 points per game this season. He's definitely the engine that'll drive Miami's offense in this game. Bam Adebayo is another guy who needs to step up. He's been solid, averaging a double-double, and the Heat will need him to dominate on the boards if they want to come out on top. On the flip side, the Hawks are in a bit of a tailspin. They're coming off a brutal 143 to 148 loss to the Pistons, marking their third straight defeat. Their defense has been a major problem, especially against teams like the Knicks and Pistons, where they allowed ridiculous point totals. Their defensive issues are hurting them, and they're ranked just 16th in defensive rating, which tells you that they're far from solid on that end. On top of that, their offense isn't exactly lighting it up either, ranking 20th in offensive rating. They're really relying on Trae Young to put the team on his back, and while he's an absolute stud, his inconsistency has been a problem. He's capable of scoring 30-plus points, but the Hawks need him to be more consistent if they want to have a shot. With Jalen Johnson out for the season and Bogdan Bogdanovic gone, the Hawks have been even more dependent on Young. Guys like Karis LeVert and Dyson Daniels need to step up and give him some help, but they've been hit or missed so far. The Hawks need to play better defense, especially on the pick and roll, where they've been giving up too many easy baskets. Both teams are coming off back-to-back games, which could be a bit of a factor. The Hawks are at home, so they get the luxury of sleeping in their own beds, while the Heat will be on the road for their fifth straight game. Miami's been pretty mediocre on the road this season, with a 12-15 record, and playing the last game of a long road trip is always tough. Teams tend to get mentally fatigued, and they may not show up with the same intensity, so that gives Atlanta a slight edge. That said, I can't shake the feeling that Miami has the pieces to win this one, even on the road. Herro is on fire, and Adebayo can take over a game if he plays with the right intensity. If Wiggins can contribute defensively and score when needed, the Heat might be able to close this one out. On the other hand, if Trae Young can heat up and carry the load like we know he's capable of, the Hawks have a shot. But with their defensive struggles and lack of consistency from the supporting cast, it's hard to trust Atlanta right now. Ultimately, this is a massive game for both teams. The Heat need this win to stay in the mix for the playoffs, and while the Hawks have the home advantage, I think Miami's sense of urgency and Herro's ability to take over will get them the W here. The Hawks just haven't shown enough recently to make me feel confident about them pulling this one off, especially with their shaky defense. Miami's going to come out strong and grab this one, in my opinion. The fourth prediction for today is for a game between the Chicago Bulls and Philadelphia 76ers. The Chicago Bulls are heading into Philadelphia to face the 76ers, and honestly, this one's tough to call. Both teams are in a serious slump right now, and neither looks like it's got much momentum. The Bulls have dropped 6 straight, and their overall record of 22-37 speaks to how rough things have been. They've been hit hard by the departure of Zach LaVine, but they've still got a solid core with Nikola Vucevic holding it down in the paint. Kobe White has stepped up with the chance to lead more, and he's been showing he's got the chops to take on a bigger role. But even with these bright spots, Chicago's been way too inconsistent, and that's led to them slipping further down the standings. Then you've got the 76ers, who are in a mess of their own. They've lost 7 in a row, and it's pretty clear that they're struggling to find any rhythm. Joel Embiid's knee injury has been a massive issue, and it's been affecting his play on the court. There's talk of potential surgery, but that only adds more uncertainty. His drop-off in performance has a domino effect on the rest of the team, and it's showing. Paul George, who was supposed to be a key acquisition, just hasn't been himself this season. His numbers are at a career low, and he's not giving the kind of boost they expected. The only real bright spot for Philly has been Tyrese Maxey, who's been putting up numbers like a top scorer in the league, but even he can't carry the load by himself. The 76ers have been disappointing at home, winning only 10 of their 29 games, which is a pretty telling stat. Now, when you look at these two teams on paper, it's hard to say the 76ers don't have the upper hand, but honestly, it's tough to trust them right now. The Bulls may be struggling, but they've shown they can keep things close. Even in their losses, they've been competitive, like when they went toe-to-toe with the Suns and the Knicks, despite both teams being heavy favorites. Philadelphia's had so many issues lately, it's hard to see them being a safe bet, even at home. Embiid's injury, George's underperformance, and just the overall lack of consistency are making them way too unreliable to back with any confidence. At the end of the day, I think the Bulls have enough in them to at least cover the spread here. They may not be favorites, and I'm not exactly jumping out of my seat to bet on them, but given how bad Philly's been lately, I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago keeps it close and maybe even sneaks away with a win. It's a tough call, but I think the Bulls have a shot to cover that 4-point spread.